And we're live. How you guys doing? Late night. You know you're into something, you like what you do when you decide to do a live stream at 20 to midnight on Saturday night. COVID Python vlog special. Can't do anything in the city. City's locked down. So yeah, I figured I'll do a live show. I got a whole bunch of pieces I wanted to discuss. So I figured I'll just jump into it. We'll see how many people are on right now. It says not too many people are on. Okay, 5, we're going. Hello, Kaylu, how are you? I hope everything is well. Yeah, so I'm curious to see how you guys doing. Sup. I'm curious to see how many people are going to show up on Saturday night. For me, East Coast, it's 11:48 p.m. I was just like, I wonder who's going to show up. We'll see. I doubt anybody from Europe. So yeah, tuning in from Jamaica. Very cool. That's a place I got to visit. Yeah. Let me know where you guys tuning in from, eh? Give me a comment. Stefan, what is the IoT industry like? Is it worth dedicating yourself to C, C++? I haven't looked at IoT in a while. If you learn C, C++, you'll be in a good position. It's one of those. Those are two key languages that I don't think are going to be going away anytime soon. Anyway, you can pivot from C++ to whatever other language you want, so don't worry about it. Programmers love to work in the middle of the night. Haha, yes. I guess that's it. Old habits die hard, right? I'm just getting going. I feel awake all of a sudden. So, yeah. Hey, how are you, Miss Zobaz? From Toronto, I believe, right? Yeah. Hope everything is good. Should I work on creating super resolution app or put more features in my e-commerce app? Super resolution app. What is super resolution app? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Or put more features in my e-commerce app. I'm not sure. So I'm going to wait for a few more people to come in, and then hey, from the UK, 5 a.m. here. So you got up just in time. Dallas, Texas. Yeah, let me know where you guys are writing from. I'm going to post it here. Kenya, Africa. From Mars. All right. Oh, sorry. This is the official channel secret hand salute. This is the ultimate hand salute. You're a first level nerd when you can do this. If you can do both hands real quick, boom, you're quick draw. Then you're really good. Yeah. Toronto, yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah, I remember that. I hope everything is well with you. Lockdown in Montreal, so I figured, hey, I'll do a live stream. I like live streams. You guys, I'm starting to get to know some of you guys. Yeah, Mr. Hologram. Good evening from Mars, Luca. Some familiar faces, Madame Zorbas. Ekaterini. Ekaterini. Spell, how would you say that phonetically? My apologies. Australia, who's Houston? Well. New York City. India, from the future. That's good. I like that. Good. Brooklyn, cool. Hello, Ryan. With all the frameworks and languages out there, what do you recommend as the basics to get into web dev as a total beginner? You have to learn the core languages first. So you got to learn your HTML5, CSS3, then JavaScript. And then from there, you're going to choose a backend tech. Even if your goal is to be a front-end developer, you got to choose some backend. It could be Python backend, JavaScript backend, PHP backend, C# backend. You have to choose from there. And then once you have your basics down, then you get into some frameworks. Philippines, India. Well. I find it hard to choose from full stack development or Android dev. Try them out, see what you like, but also check out the job opportunities, and that will play a big role. What time is it over there, Stefan? Right now it is 11:51 p.m., close to midnight. I just, I can't do anything else. But I like doing live streams. It's fun. So I figured, I'll come on and do a live stream. Python front end or React? Python front end. You know, I've never looked at how much demand there is for front-end Python. I would imagine there's many more jobs in React, but you know, I think you can't lose with either one. And try them out, see what you like, see where the job opportunities are. Love from Malaysia. Hey, thanks for joining. Love from Canada. What time is it? Okay, I got that. Kansas City, Wisconsin. Fellow Canadian. What part of Canada are you from, Naveen? From India. Namaste. Namaste. I used to do yoga, Hatha yoga, yin yoga, Ashtanga yoga. My favorite is Ashtanga because it kind of reminded me of martial arts. Finally caught a live stream. Hello from Wisconsin. Very cool. What do you think about Lumen instead of Laravel? I haven't looked at Lumen, so I could not say. St. Louis, very cool. Jordan, that's great. I don't know if we ever. That's great. Are you going to play Cyberpunk? Maybe. I do play a little bit because my friends, we get on PlayStation Live just as a way to just keep in touch. Guys I've known since high school. And whatever they want to play. Right now, I play Call of Duty, World War II. It's just the game. We like playing, but it's more just a chat with old buddies. Bulgaria, very cool. Hey, Stefan, just wanted to say thanks for upgrading my Studio Web account for free. No worries. Once you join Studio Web, you have access. See what happens? Sometimes people join. And then something happens, life happens, and they come back a year later, or 6 months later, or 2 years later, and I just upgrade them. It's no big deal. Happy to help. How much Python is Google using for its flagship product, YouTube? I think the whole thing is Python, but I couldn't say. I haven't looked at that code base, you know. Thank you for making the sacrifice and coming on camera at such a late hour here. No, it's not George. I appreciate that, but it's not a sacrifice. I enjoy having conversations with you guys. It's fun for me, you know. And so I figure, why not, you know? Good evening. It's 6 p.m. here in New Zealand. Very cool. The land of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Yes. What kind of code do I need to learn to work for SpaceX? I don't know. Choose any language. Choose Python. And then take it from there because they're all very similar. Hello from San Diego. Very nice place, San Diego. Sir, explain about Unreal Engine. I don't know. I never worked with it. I am sure it's written in C++. Houston, Texas. Very good. Bremerton, Washington. Excuse me. Fahim Khan. A startup that specializes in design system and UK kits for brands to build their online brand would be a good idea, not a startup that specializes in design system and UI kits. I don't know. I would have to see what your specific business model is. Like, how do you monetize that? What are you going to do? It could be. Let me get into startup reality, because a good friend of mine, one of my former mentees, guy I trained up, and you can see him on the front page of StudioWeb.com, Roberto. So his startup is doing gangbusters now. I think the evaluation, I'm not going to reveal all the details, but the evaluation's in the many tens of millions now. And over the last 5 years or so, 5 or 6, since he went and he left Studio Web to start a startup, it was a bittersweet moment for me, because he said to me, he was working for me, he said, I got this startup opportunity, a guy wants to partner with me, what do you think? And I said, you should try, So he went, and now he's doing fantastic, so that's great. And I have to tell you, like so many other startups, they pivoted so many times. It's like they were doing here and here and here and here, always within the same vertical, within the same industry, and with the same basic goal. But in terms of the actual product development, it's radically different from the original idea. It's totally different. But it's normal. It's par for the course. As a startup person, I've done many businesses, but I don't do the VC route. I just self-fund. As a startup person, you gotta have the you got to be willing to pivot and destroy any ideas that you thought were perfect. That's one of the dichotomies, one of the dualities, if you will, being an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur has to be, number one, confident in themselves, in herself or yourself, and at the same time, they have to be willing to accept that their ideas were trash. So you have to be confident, but at the same time, you have to be willing to accept that you were wrong. But that's the ultimate confidence, obviously, right? If you're really self-secure, you can admit to yourself, I'm wrong. And the best entrepreneurs, that's what they do. And trust me, I've had many ideas that are just terrible. So they pivoted quite a bit. So whatever your idea happens to be now, it could be very good, but there's have at least in the back of your mind, be prepared to adjust your idea based on what the market tells you. And if you do that, and you continue and you persist and you manage yourself properly and you manage your emotions, you manage your cash flow, etc., 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 and you're consistent, you will succeed. But you have to understand there's going to be that pivoting stuff you're going to have to deal with. That is just par for the course. Already almost 100 people Saturday night, near midnight. Wow. Okay, let's go on from here. Vishal, 1982. Will Flutter be more popular than React Native at some point of time? I don't know. I don't have my nerd crystal ball here. It's hard to say. Who knows? Depends what the React people do and what the Flutter people do. Egypt. Very cool. How to become a good developer. Learn your basics well. Learn good communication skills. And learn to write better code. If you look in the link below, there are links to refactoring books that I highly recommend. The first edition is in Java, second is JavaScript. Choose whichever one you want. That will up your coding game big time. But that's the process, basically. Hello from Toronto, another Torontonian. Okay, Sarpano. Okay, what do we say? I am learning J. Okay, so the problem with me is my motivation starts to drain when I see what I am learning in JS. I can't remember them when I use them in projects, and I have to look them up again. Is it normal or something wrong? No, this is completely and absolutely normal. That's why nerds invented integrated development environments and code editors that do code completion, because you're going to forget. And when you become a master of JavaScript and then you leave JavaScript because of business or whatever reasons, you go into Python, and then a year or two later, you're going to forget a lot of the JavaScript, but you're going to remember the concepts and you're going to remember the specifics about the language here and there, but you're going to forget, the various things about it. That's just normal. Don't worry about it. You just got to write code, and it will become second nature in time. The most important thing about coding, programming, is understanding the principles, not the specific libraries and the specific functions. And I've written so much software in different languages. I've done courses in Python and PHP, JavaScript. I've done little mini things for people in Java. I've written lots of C#. I forget, sometimes I'll mix up the syntax all the time. Syntax is just the actual code. I'll mix it up all the time until I get into it. Then when I get into it, then it comes back to me. So don't worry about that. It's not a big deal. Please change the name of this live talk. Yeah. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get into this article here, so we can time index it. Peter, I think it's Mortensen. He's a guy who he does really good job of breaking down the live streams with time indicators. So he'll do that on the replay. Okay, so we're 14 minutes in. I'll get back to the Q&A, but let me just go over this piece on Python, and then we'll do a little bit more Q&A, okay? All right, let's do it. Okay, you guys can see that, I think. Yes, you can. All right, so I'll shut off this for now. Okay, article I found. I haven't read it before. Maybe I should have, but we'll see what happens. Python is slowly losing its charm. I don't really think so. The Swiss Army knife of programming languages has its problems and may be replaced by other languages better suited to the task. Jason, I believe, is incorrect, but we'll see what he has to say. Ever since Python was released in the 1990s, it has generated a lot of hype. Sure, It took the programming community at least 2 decades to appreciate its existence, but since then it has far surpassed C, C#, Java, and even JavaScript in popularity. It depends on what index you look at. I'm not sure, but it's definitely in the top 3. Although Python dominates the field of data science and machine learning, to some extent scientific and mathematical computing, it does have its share of disadvantages when compared to newer languages like Julia, Swift, and Java. Okay, let me just address that little point there. There is no such thing as the perfect programming language. There's no such thing. Each language has its strengths and its weaknesses. You as a professional developer are going to learn in time to choose the language that fits the job. So whatever. Anyway, let's get back into it. What made Python so popular? One of the main driving points behind Python's meteoric growth was how easy it was to learn, how powerful it is to use, making it extremely appealing to beginners, even those who shied away from programming because of the hard, unfamiliar syntax like C and C++. Yeah, he's right about that. Python's got a very a very readable English-like code. Syntax, just a fancy word for code. And it's got a lot of capability. Python's strength really is its broad use case. You can even order pizza with Python. So it's pretty broad in that regard. But it has some weaknesses too, that's for sure. Yeah, let's go on. The language at its very core emphasizes extensively on code readability. That's a good thing, because what's Stef's rule of coding? Write time speed is more important than runtime speed. So if the programming language allows you to write your software much more quickly, that's more important than how fast the code runs at runtime. In most situations, Python is not very fast at runtime. That is for sure. C++, C, blow it away. Swift blows it away at runtime. Java blows it away at runtime. But Python, with maybe the exception of Swift, is so much easier to write than those other languages. So that's one of the big reasons why it's gaining so much ground. With its concise and expressive syntax, Python, it allowed developers to express ideas and concepts without writing tons of lines of code, as would be the case in lower level languages like C or Java. Its simplicity, a given, Python seamlessly integrates with other programming languages like offloading CPU-intensive tasks to C and C++, making it an added bonus to polyglot developers. Okay, so that's a good point, exactly. So what some of the most advanced data AI guys are doing, machine learning guys are doing, they write the core of the machine learning system, if you will, in C, C++ for speed, and then they use Python around it. So, because C is going to run circles around Python. So, and what they say, if you watch interviews, they say by doing it that way, as opposed to writing everything C++, they're able to get a lot more work done much more quickly. So, yeah, he's right about that. So, yet another reason for Python's versatility is its heavy use by enterprise. FANGs included as Facebook, Netflix, Google, I forget what these two guys are, Apple, I guess, as well as countless smaller ventures. Today, you'll find a Python package for pretty much anything you can think of. For scientific computing, you got NumPy, sklearn, I don't know that one. For machine learning, CAR, my computer vision package for computer vision. Python's got weaknesses. It's slow, terribly slow. Yeah, that's pretty much the case. This is probably a no-brainer. Speed is generally considered to be one of the key focuses of a developer and will probably continue to be for an unforeseeable amount of time. I would say that is a focus only in certain circumstances and by new developers. As I say, write time speed is more important than runtime speed in many situations. Among the major reasons why Python is slow, it really boils down to Python is interpreted as opposed to compiled, ultimately leading to slower execution times. The fact that it is dynamically typed, data types of variables are automatically inferred by Python during execution. In truth, this argument that Python is slow tends to factor a lot among beginners. Yes, it's true, but only partially. Take, for example, TensorFlow, a machine learning library available in Python. These libraries are actually written in C++ and made available in Python, sort of forming a Python wrapper around the C++ implementation. And the same goes for NumPy to an extent, even, I guess it's pronounced car, I don't know. So there you go, as I was just saying. It's got a GIL. One of the major reasons for Python's slowness is the presence of GIL, Global Interpreter Lock, which allows only one thread to execute at a time. While this boosts performance of single thread, it places a limitation on parallelism, where developers have to implement multiprocessing programs as opposed to multi-threaded ones to improve speed. Yeah. All this to say, I'm trying to figure out the best way to translate that. Basically, Python is geared towards a certain type of programming. So when you're looking at more enterprise or scaling things where you might have multiple processes running at the same time, those are called the threads. You got like I don't know, think of a chord. Yeah, so more certain languages, if they want to handle a lot of data going through it at the same time, it will launch separate processes leveraging the different cores on CPUs. You got 8-core and 4-core CPUs and 16 cores. So many programming languages can say, okay, we got something we got to do here. Let's just put it to this core. And we got something we got to do here. Let's put it to that core. So Python apparently can only address one core at a time, according to this guy. I'm not sure about that personally, but I'll just assume he's right about that. Not the best for memory-intensive tasks. When objects go out of scope, Python has automatic garbage collection, just like Java. It aims to remove a lot of complexities involved in memory management. That's C and C++ involved. Yeah, that's like memory management and pointers are hell in C++. Owing to the flexibility or lack thereof of specific data types, the amount of memory Python consumes quickly explodes. Yeah, that's it. See, when... 165. Because Python handles all that garbage collections for you, it's not as efficient in its use of memory. You don't have to worry about it, it takes care of it. So it gets bloated and slow faster, whereas you're writing C++ code, you can really control that. But because you really can control that, it's a lot more work, right? But that's why when you need high performance, people will drop down to C++ or C. But most of the time you don't. So anyhow, moreover, some bugs that may go unnoticed by Python may pop up during runtimes, ultimately slowing down the development process by a considerable factor. I don't know, sir. I don't necessarily agree with that. Yeah, maybe that one thing could slow down the development process, but because Python's got all these other advantages, you can write a piece of software in Python in a fraction of the time it would take you to do in C++ or C in many situations. Weak presence in mobile computing. Yeah, Python is not there as far as I know. With a large shift from desktop to smartphones, it's obvious that more robust languages are required to build software for mobiles. While Python has a sizable representation in desktop and server platform, it tends to lose out on mobile development owing to a lack of strong mobile computer processing. My answer to that is who cares? If Python is doing fantastic for you on the server, use it there and then use what you need to use for the mobile, right? Over recent years, there has been a lot of advancements in this area, but like these newly added libraries aren't even close to their strong competitors like Kotlin, Swift, Java. You know me, I say go PWA most of the time. The rise of other languages. Recently, newer languages like Julia, Rust, Swift have popped up on the radar, borrowing a lot of good design concepts from Python, C++, Java. Rust pretty much guarantees memory safety and concurrency. At runtimes, concurrency is basically spawning multiple threads. If you have all these tasks to do, you can go boom, 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 boom. As a Python, it's all down one path only, so it's a lot slower to get things done. Let me comment on this. He mentioned Swift. Like Swift is very good for iOS, of course, development, macOS development, but they ported Swift to the server, and it's super fast, but its adoption is like, it's not really going anywhere, even though you can use Swift for server-side programming. So anyway, just keep that in mind. Okay, so you got Rust, type safety, concurrency. Offer first-class interoperability with WebAssembly. Swift is almost as fast as C due to its support for VM compiler tool chain, and Julia offers asynchronous I/O, blah, blah, and I/O intensive tasks is blazingly fast. These are all true. Who cares though? Most of the time, you won't notice these speed differences in many things that you do. Not all, but in many. Anyway, conclusion. Python was never built to be the best programming language. How do you define best? Right? I don't know if you can order pizza with Julia, right? You can with Python though. So if you're a pizza person, then Python is definitely much better than Julia because you can order pizza with Python. So, depends on which the criteria is, right? It was never built to take on C++ and Java, that's true. It was built to be a general purpose programming language that emphasized on human readable, English-centered syntax and allowed for quick development of programs and applications. Well, there you go. That's why it's dominating, right? As I say, from my experience going back to the 90s, write time, speed is more important most of the time than runtime speed. Write time speed is more important most of the time than runtime speed. And Python's ascension proves that point I've been talking about for many years. Python, like every other language, at the end of the day is a tool. Sometimes it's the best tool, sometimes not. More often, it's just okay. That's true. So is Python programming language dying? I hardly think so. Is it losing its charm? Maybe just a bit, Oh, okay. I didn't really need to read that article. It was well written though, so I like how he wrote it, and he gave some good general information. So I'm going to give that article a thumbs up. As if you've watched me read some other articles, I had to give them some major thumbs down. Oh, what's this? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm buying a marble for, I'm remodeling something. It's just a couple of marble slabs. Give me a vote. Which one you like? This one or this one? Marble number 1 or marble number 2? Yeah, anyway. All right. There we go. That's the piece. Let me know what you think. If you like that, give me a thumbs up. And I'll do a little Q&A. What time is it now? Let's get me the chat up and running. It's 12:14, so I got that done in half an hour. Time flies. How's the image look? Looking pretty good, I hope. How's the sound? Pretty good. I assume you guys can hear me. That's cool. Of course, Mr. Ibre, of course. All right, number two, round number 2, okay. People like number two for the marble. I appreciate your input. Yeah. Number two. Wow, everybody likes number 2. Let me make sure I got number 2 right here. So let's do that again. Since everybody's, that's number 2. It's number 1. Yeah, no, this discoloration here, that's just, it's not really there in real life. So it's number 1, number 2, number 1, number 2. This is called Sydney marble. It's actually much nicer when you see it in person. And this is actually Brazilian. This is Brazilian white premium quartzite. This is another natural rock, both natural rocks. Pretty cool, right? So they cut a slab like this, and you make your kitchen, and then you can. Anyway, so there you go. So I appreciate you guys giving me your feedback on this stuff. See how many people. Number 2 is cleaner. Number 2. Wow, overwhelmingly number 2. I'm surprised. I thought it would be more of a mix. All right, that's cool. Yeah, marble 2. Good. Shannon, I suppose you like the article. That's good. We got a number 1. Abel is another number 1, but number 2, I didn't see. Okay, I'll give you one last look so you can give me your opinion. That's number 1. That is, what you call it, if you look closely, you see the pattern here? It's quite nice. It's quite beautiful. It's kind of, so that's called Sydney stone. And then here's number 2. This is super white quartzite from Brazil. So this is a very nice piece as well. I like this piece a lot. So, yeah, so this is number 2. This is number 1. So you tell me what you guys think is better. This is for kitchen countertops and part of the walls. So anyway, what an unusual stream. Python and marble selections. Uh, longer hair. Yeah, yeah. Sound is good. Video is good. I appreciate Omar. Cool. Ruby's the best. Number 2, good. Does anyone know about AV evasion? No, I don't know what that is. Stefan, what do you think about the additions in PHP 8? I have to look at that. I'll do a video on that at some point. I'm sure it's good. I have a lot of trust in the PHP community. They're working hard. Marble for the kitchen. Yes, indeed. Exactly. Any suggestions on learning data structures on my own? Just get a good book on it maybe, or do a quick videos. Don't spend too much on time. Just do the basics, and then you learn that on a Need2Nerd basis, you know. I enjoy your Python. Your Python course helped make it click. Now I am learning Wagtail and Django. Fantastic. That's my goal. My goal of my courses, whether it be Python, JavaScript, PHP, whatever, etc., is to help you understand the core of the languages so it becomes really easy. And once you have that, it's easy to learn anything else on your own super quick, right? You still have the 50% discount on your Python package. I do. I'll post it in the under this video if I didn't post it. The code is still good. I think the code is Ruby Rules, actually. They'll give you 50% discount. So yeah, take advantage of it. It's my Python course, my certification course combined. Super deal. So it's like, yeah. So yeah, thanks for picking it up. Does anyone in here know about AV aviation or how to get started learning about it? I don't even know what that is. Laugh out loud. Ruby is Rubo. Number 2. Everybody likes number 2. Huh. That's cool. All right. Except for ice cream, he likes number 1. I started my computer major and they teach really slowly. I want to learn more by myself, but I don't know where to start. Is there a lot of information I don't know? And I don't know where to start. You know, try out my Python course. You can get the coupon. It's 50% off. Take it out. You're going to learn very quickly. It's interactive, so it's cool. Number 1's got more. Yeah, number 1 is got more. The Sydney Stone's got a lot more character, so it's personal taste, this stuff. It's interesting. Overwhelming people are going for 2. I find that interesting. They like the Brazilian rock. Does anyone in here know about, okay, this guy keeps, okay, I posted, I won't be clicking that again. 18, number 2. Number 1, where are you from? I imagine it is an Arab state. Okay. Number 1 is the kitchen will have a lot of natural lighting. That's very astute of you. Yes, it does have a tremendous amount of natural lighting. So you're going to see all kinds of colors come off it. Stefan has his heart set on number 1. Yeah. How'd you guess? But I might go with my number 2. I'm trying to decide between the 2. So this one. What is it for again? Kitchen. It's for a kitchen. Number 1 for bathroom, 2 for kitchen. That's interesting. Yeah. Number 2, number 10. Number 2, OSC. Number 1 is for if it's for the kitchen. Number 2 for anything else. Number 2 plus love from Brazil. Yes. Actually, you know, I had this week I had an interior designer come in, a woman from Brazil. From Sao Paulo, I think she said, and she was great. She helped me out making my choices and stuff. Mr. Jack, how long you think it takes someone to decently good at Python? I'm practicing. It depends on your aptitudes and how much time you spend per day, but I've had people take my courses and within about a month and a half, 2 months, actually got entry-level job as a developer, whatever language you decide to pursue. You really learn a lot in the first few years as you go through, but you can start making money pretty quickly as a very junior entry level. Number 1, number 2 is good for Ruby coders. There you go. Both are good. Go for the better price. That's good advice, Jesse. That's good advice. Yeah, they're both very nice. I just started my computer manager to cheat. Okay, we did that one. Number 1, if you have dark cabinets. That's good. Yeah, I can see that. 2 is way better. Which one do you prefer, 1 or 2? I'm on the fence. Number 1 actually in person looks much nicer. The photo doesn't do it justice, but number 2 is really nice too. I'm trying to decide. I'm getting quotes coming in. Have you heard about White Hate GR, an Indian ed tech startup that claims they can teach a 6-year-old to code? They can get a job in Fang for millions. Well, I don't think a Fang would be hiring a 6-year-old. Oh, just joined. This doesn't look like a coding stream. Laugh my. Well, it is. What you gotta go back. You just missed the whole coding content. Would you suggest learning SQL before learning any programming languages? If you want to be a database admin, sure. If you want to get a database, but I recommend if you want to be a developer, I actually put out what I recommend. I recommend you learn the web stack first with HTML, CSS, JavaScript. And you'll learn a bunch of concepts, and then you can get into backend like PHP or Python or backend JavaScript, etc., and SQL. It all kind of works together. You know, it depends what your end goal is in terms of your coding career. Okay, we got this one. With PHP 8 recently released, it's shocking to see people still label the current PHP to the PHP of 17, 20 years ago. Yep, yeah, they're kind of ignorant in that regards, you know. Learning Bash, very cool. Which mobile-centric language Swift or Kotlin is also good for general programming? I know you can use Swift on the server, although it's not widely used. And too bad, because Swift is a very good language in many respects. Kotlin, you know, I think if you wanted a broader use case, I would guess Kotlin would be better because you can access the JVM with Kotlin. So that means you could do mobile, and Google recommends Kotlin for Android development. And you can use Kotlin, of course, I would imagine, with server-side programming because you can access the JVM, which is extremely powerful. Should I take a UX course as a junior software developer to design my websites and apps for my resume? Because it seems like a clean and polished looking app is preferred over more advanced app. Yeah, something, Adith, if I said that right. One of the things I teach is that these days, the difference between a successful app and a non-successful app oftentimes is visual. It's UX and UI, so it's how easy it is to use and how pretty it is. Languages these days and frameworks these days and runtime engines these days are so efficient. Even if you write bad code, it's probably going to run really well as far as the user is concerned. The problem will be down the road when you're trying to extend the code base or debug it. If you have poorly written code, that's when it becomes problematic, but the end users won't see that. So in terms of, what was that question? The final part of the question is, because it seems like a clean and polished looking app is preferred over more, the first part is, should I take UI UX course as a junior software developer to design my websites and apps for my resume? If you're already a good coder, instead of taking a course to put on your resume, I would actually just learn better UI UX and implement something for a nonprofit, for small business, and show what you can do. All right. There we go. Paolo, let's see what he has to say. My 2 cents, I do programming tutoring. I notice that people who start with Python can easily do only that, while students who start with C++ can move onto literally any other language very easily. Yeah, perhaps I can see that, but it depends what they're moving into. You know, a lot of other languages borrow from C and C++, Java, C#, JavaScript, several PHP to a limited extent, etc. So the syntax is very similar. You get that C-style syntax. So whereas Python, it doesn't have a C-style syntax. So perhaps. Jiran Ali says, what software are you using to live stream? I'm using something that is Mac only. It's called Ecamm Live. You got to pay for it, but it's a lot easier to use and it does a pretty good job. With the global lockdowns, how does this affect the coding market? Coding is exploding because everybody's going remote and so forth. Favorite typed language from Villeray? Well, from my experience, it was Java, but that's more sentimental than anything else because I cut my teeth in the 90s with Java, and I've written definitely more Java code than any other language, and yeah, I think Java's a great language, but I'm not an active developer now. I run my SaaS, my stuff, and I keep up to date what's going on. But for me, it was Java. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the best language overall. And I don't believe in the best language. There's the best language for the job. If I finish your Python course before 30 days, can I get my money back? I need your blessing. If I finished your Python course before 30, can I get my money back? I need your blessing. Well, that wouldn't be very fair. That would be like going to a restaurant, eating the meal, and then saying, okay, I want my money back. That would not be very fair. I don't mind giving money back if you can't do it, you don't like it, etc. But if you do it all and you learn from it, that would not be very fair. Hello from Greece. Number 2. That's it. Does it affect us bad or good? I think it affects you good. Boa noite. I guess that's good night. Brazil Online, from Brazil. How long you think it will take someone to be decently good at Python? I'm practicing. Okay, I did that one. All right. C, of course. Yeah, of course. Stands for of course. I need coffee. All right, how are we doing here? All right. Let's see what we got here. Mahir says, hey, hello, sir. I am learning Python through YouTube. I want to know that how can I print a circle and ellipse in Python? Matplotlib, please, sir, help. Okay, I'm going to give you a Python coding tutorial in the comments here. Def, I can't do it online. Yeah. Waha woman from San Paulo. Yeah, San Paulo. I don't know. Well, I don't know what this word is. His first word, one here. But what do you think of PowerShell? It's fine. Number 1 has good contrast. Number 1 for Nordics fans, and number 2 for hash. Yeah. She was a girl from Apenima. Have you read the book Fluent Python by Brazilian Luciano Ramalho? No, I have not. Is it good? Is your complete web entrepreneur course different than the complete freelancer course? Yes, very different. The freelancer course is freelancing, and the entrepreneur course is broad business, teaches you about all kinds of different business models, how to approach business, etc. It's a much bigger picture. Freelancing is strictly for freelancing. The web entrepreneur is for any type of business. You want to start a startup or whatever. It's all in there. Again, it's based on my years of experience. Well, decades now. Wow. How many hours per day to code to be productive and don't burn out? 3 to 4 hours a day is my recommendation. Is college worth it if you're applying to be a freelancer? No. Favorite sorting algo? I don't know. I don't really have a favorite. Please tell me how to get better at coding. Write code. Try to write code daily, 4 to 5 days a week, at least 20 minutes a day. Would you recommend building web API using Python? If it works, PogoServe. Hello, Stefan. It depends on what you're trying to do, right? It depends on what you're trying to do. Alex Chen says, Live Soleil, coding my Java Spring MVC project now. Hey, very cool. Can you compare Spring versus Spring Boot or other MVC? I cannot compare. I haven't looked at Spring Boot, so I couldn't say. Java Spring is a huge upgrade from what they used to do prior. Rod Johnson actually created Java Spring, and he started the whole Spring framework from his book. I think it was called Better, Faster Java, where he was highly critical of Java at the time. Obviously, I had the book. I couldn't compare it to other MC. Generally speaking, Java because it's a very verbose language, and it's very powerful, but it's very verbose. It takes a long time to get stuff done when you compare it to more nimbler frameworks like PHP Laravel or Python Django or Express.js on top of Node, etc. Southern California, good. Yeah, you're probably locked in, right? You're locked in there. What would you recommend, books or videos? Depends on the subject. It depends on the subject. For beginner type of material, videos, interactive videos, and for more advanced theoretical, probably books. So it depends. It also depends on your learning styles. Please, your opinion on Laravel, job perspective. If you're going to do PHP and you want to do app development, it's probably going to be in the Laravel world or maybe Symfony. PHP I recommend, generally speaking, for freelance work, because you can get into WordPress and all, Joomla, and Drupal, etc., etc. All right, I am in the data science field, but I fell in love with Flutter, building a nice portal app, one code base. Fantastic. Flutter's a great thing. All right. What topics are required to practice daily? I don't know if there's any topics in particular, just write code. When you actually write the code, type it out. It helps with your comprehension, with your understanding of the code, strangely enough. What I tell people when you're learning, write code, get something to work, and then start breaking it in points and see what the error messages are. That's a little trick to how to become a better coder. And then you start being able to put together a certain type of error with the error code and message, and it'll make you a much better debugger that way, and you'll be able to spot errors more quickly. Practice makes perfect. That's why in my Studio Web Learning SaaS, there's a lot of code challenges, more than any other platform by huge amounts. So for example, just this WebStack courses, I think there's over 1,000 quiz questions, just the WebStack courses, and hundreds and hundreds of code challenges. And the idea is you got to write code. And videos are good, but videos alone are 1/3 of the equation, in my opinion. And I've been teaching for a long time now. You need videos, you need quizzing and code challenges, lots of them, not just 4 or 5 in a course, like dozens and dozens and dozens. And you need interactivity, instant feedback. That's why my platform is designed for all that. So it's so you learn so quickly. Just go read the reviews. They're amazed at how quickly they learn because of that structure. Also because I have lizard awareness. I'm aware of the lizard brain, and I implement lizard brain technology into what I do. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you will soon with my new training that's coming out called the Lizard Wizard. Seen your videos before when I needed it, and curiosity. Thank you. I'm glad I could help, Senjit. Thanks for commenting and thanks for watching. Bad UI, UX is like the marble slab 1. That's true. Yeah, that's true. But it's so messy, marble slab number 1, that if you make a mess preparing food, nobody will see it. So it will look clean all the time. How often should you job hop as a junior developer? Not too often, because if you keep job hopping, your next employer will say, why is this guy job hopping, or girl? And if you job hop too much, they're not going to want to hire you, because there's a certain investment when hiring new employees. You got to train them up so they get familiar with your code base. So you get them familiar with the way you work. And if you keep hopping, there's this run-up time, and there's this cost of training you up. So don't hop too much. Don't hop too much. Hop when it's very strategically important for you. What is the cheapest way to learn coding? Well, you can learn from YouTube. You can learn by going to the library, getting books, but although they may not have coding books. Of course, you know, I'm biased. You can learn from Studio Web with my coupon. You can learn Python for like $20, so it's not exactly expensive. I already know Java, and I would like to move towards AI and machine learning and software development. Would it be good to learn something like Python or go towards PHP? Well, if you want to get into machine learning AI, it's all about Python. That's for sure. If you want to do freelance, then you go PHP. Mr. Burp, I learned C first, very glad I did, went to Python and was like, where do I put the semicolons? Yeah, I know what you mean. I had the same experience when I first got into Python because I basically did C languages, C#, Java, JavaScript, some PHP and other stuff, Perl. And so then when I was did some Python finally, I was like, where are the brackets? Where are the brackets? Where are the semicolons? It was disconcerting. 11:30 a.m. here in Bangladesh. How you doing? Very cool. How do you feel about Flutter? Well, if you look back, when it first came out, when beta, I looked at it and I said, hey, this is pretty good. You know, this is a good tech, and it seems to be gaining traction. So I haven't looked at it since, but yeah, at the time it looked very good. Stefan, what is your advice for a 15-year-old programmer who is good at HTML, CSS, JS, and Python? I would go out there and maybe start trying to build stuff for people or for friends. If you have an idea for an app or a web app, a PWA, maybe learn PWA. Start trying to do stuff for free, maybe for a nonprofit. Get some coding skills under your belt, you know, in terms of a real world experience. But 15, good age. Wow, 15. You got your whole life ahead of you. Fantastic. What will replace Flash after 2020? Flash? It's dead, no? Well, Flash was basically killed by web technology, HTML5 specifically. I thought you only existed in the AM. No. Okay, we'll see what this guy has to say. Michael. 4 langs everyone should learn. Assembly, so you know what your code gets turned into. C, so you understand mem management and garbage collection. V, HDL, because unlike anything else. And then Python. Well, depends what you want to do. If you do web apps, none of this will really matter too much, except for maybe Python. Depends what you want to do. See what Sean has to say. I started with Java in school, but now I have a job that uses VB and C#. VB. I can't count the number of times I've mixed syntax. Oh yeah. VB. Wow. Still, wow, I'm surprised. Whoa, 181 people at 12:40 at night. I should be falling asleep here. Okay, let's see what Joseph has to say here. I am an intermediate programmer at West Point in the United States. My interests changed quite a lot. But what advice would you give me in terms of making my workflow better? How to manage projects? That's an interesting question. It depends on the type of development that you're doing. One of the things is just have a really good IDE, integrated development environment. That's the first thing. So, but the code just writes better. You know, I think since you're talking about changing from one language to the next, I guess you could just go back to basic principles where just continue to write simple, clean code, simple objects, et cetera, so that they're easy to update. As you know, as a developer, you spend a lot more time debugging usually. So if you have a simpler code base, then it's going to be easier for you. That would improve your workflow. But beyond that, it's hard for me to say because it depends on what environment you're working in, right? How are we doing here? 188. If you like this stream, you like the style of the stream, you can give me some thumbs up. So it's good for the algo, you know. Okay, let's see what. I am into machine learning, but I was being asked general data structures and algorithm questions in my product-based interviews. How can I practice them? And does language matter? Language does not matter in a general sense. They only matter in the job-specific sense. So if you're doing AI and ML, you're going to probably do, well, Python. You're not going to be using PHP, right? In that sense. So I am kidding. I already finished great course, and it will be very useful to come back to it at any time, especially after being away from Python for a while. Well, thanks for that. Okay, I didn't catch the joke there. Yeah, text can be difficult, especially when you're dating. You'd never text with your girlfriend because you can get into all kinds of trouble. So never, as little texting as possible, or use a lot of smiley faces. Anyways, yeah, I finished after. Okay, I'm glad you like my Python course. Fantastic, good. I appreciate that. Thank you. What matters? Talent or hard work? It's a mix of the both. It's a mix of the both. I always say, and I learned this from my martial arts and boxing, you got to play to your strengths. So one of your jobs as a student in whatever it is you're studying is you have to figure out what you are good at and what you're not good at, and concentrate on what you are good at. So in terms of boxing, which I did, I was not great at inside fighting. Not good at inside, but I was much, much better at outside fighting. So I concentrated on developing my outside game. So what you have to do when you learn your basics in software development, then what you got to do is work on, try different things and see where you excel. You might excel on the back end, you might excel in database design, you might excel in front end UI UX. So you have to figure that out, and then you specialize in that area. That's all it is. Language for entrepreneur. I would go with the dynamic languages, PHP, JavaScript, Python, because it's fast. Entrepreneurs have to get stuff out fast and quick. You don't want to go with a strongly typed language there because it's usually they're very verbose and take a lot more time to get things done. What strategy should we follow? A fast learner or a slow learner? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I was learning JavaScript and then just saw towards OOP and Java, and now I am addicted to it. Ah, there you go. Yeah, Java is actually a more consistent language than JavaScript. So in some ways, Java is easier to work with because it's very consistent. It's well thought out relative to JavaScript. JavaScript's got some weird behavior in it. It's some weird behavior. They made some design choices, which it's just weird. How do you see Pop OS for machine learning? I don't know it, so I couldn't say. Dart, flutter, elbow, cough. Do you need a super fast 16 gigabyte laptop to do Java projects? It's just compile time. Just compile time. Make sure you have a lot of, you can't go wrong with RAM. More RAM, the better. It just as a general rule. I don't know. I haven't compiled. The processors are so fast these days that I'm not sure if you really need a new computer or super new fast computer these days. For the most part, things are just so fast. Stef, you said code from 3 to 4 hours a day to be productive and don't burn out. What due to other 4 hours I have to work 8? What would be right rest to make brain codable again? You do 3-4 hours of intense coding, and then you spend your other time maybe doing some cleanup, maybe some design, not graphic design, but software design. Maybe go back, write the specification doc, but nobody writes the documentation for your software. Plan out some objects for the future. You know what I mean? That's what I would do. The reason I say 3 to 4 hours, because for most people, and everybody's different, but most people, our brains are optimal for about 3 to 4 hours. And then it's good to take a rest. What about rest? What about it? It's a good language, I hear. I've never used it, so I can't give you much more than that. Language for freelance entrepreneur, PHP, or JavaScript, Python. Any of the dynamic languages so that you can get stuff done very, very quickly. Do you consider HTML and CSS part of programming foundations? Not programming, but coding foundations. The reason I do is because I believe that the web stack and thus the web technologies and so HTML, CSS are becoming more and more and more and more important. And so it's good to understand that whole environment. And you need, if you're going to do anything web or PWA, you have to understand HTML, CSS. So it's good because HTML is really simple, and it's a good coding language to get you used to using code. And CSS, same thing. It's another coding language. It's for styling, of course. It's not programming, but it's kind of a nice bridge between never having written code to writing code. Hold on. I would say PHP is still the most prominent language for freelancing. I would see that. I only see rise in Node.js jobs in certain areas, but the freelancing world is still dominated by PHP. This is true from what I've seen. This is true. And it's not. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? It certainly is, via tradition. I think, though, I've replaced Die Hard with Bad Santa. Bad Santa. That's the one I recommend. Hi, Stef. Please talk about Python for pen test and cybersecurity. I don't have any particular opinions with regards to that. I haven't used pen test, but I'm sure it does a good job. That kind of stuff, server-side stuff, that's where Python really comes in big. I'm 23. Is it too late to get a computer science degree? No, you're pretty young still, so I wouldn't be too concerned, Just don't go into debt. First, someone just starting out, for someone, he says, first someone just starting out is calling, but I assume he means for. Which language is the best one to learn first? I took Python class, and it was very intensive for me. It could be that you had just not the best situation to learn from. Maybe the teacher wasn't the best. If you've done Python, maybe you can pivot, do my web stack course, some JavaScript, some PHP, some HTML, CSS, or you can take Python again from another teacher. I used to, in my early days in the 90s, I used to spend $3,000 to $4,000 a year on books learning to code. Did it for years, even as I was a good coder. And the reason I did that was because this is prior to videos, right? It's because I thought to myself, you're making, as a developer, you're making a lot of money. So to spend a few $1,000s a year upping your game, it's nothing. It's cheap. It's a very good return. I have automated my online classes. Finally, good. Hey, it's Hey, just popping on here to say hi, finishing a huge final project. All right, well, thanks for popping on. Good luck with the project. Let us know how it goes. Greetings. Thanks for your info. All right. We'll see what we got here for time. Oh, 176. And, okay, I'm going to be wrapping up because it's almost 1 in the morning here. This hot remote biz going on right now, Zoom, etc., who is behind it as far as code, back-end tech languages? Hello from Silicon Valley. Can you elaborate, please? See if I can break out what he's trying to say here. Who is behind it as far as code, back-end tech? It's all over the place. Like my friend's startup, it's all PHP-based, PHP Python for them. I'm sure other people are using all kinds of different language. Depends what you're doing, Salt Lake City, Utah. Very good. I used to buy brine shrimp from Salt Lake City, from Utah anyway. Do taking notes really help while doing coding practices? It does help. It does help. Because there's a little lizard wizard training tip here. Lizard wizard is reference to your brain. The more senses that you can activate as you're learning something, the more likely you're going to remember it. So if you're writing out code on paper or typing it out and you're seeing it at the same time, there's two senses that you're activating. So your brain is going to give it a little bit more importance with every new sense. So yeah, it does help. From India, it is morning here. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, here, you may begin. All right, let's see what we're going to finish off because I'm starting to get really tired all of a sudden. It's hitting me. Mexico, 1140. Good, good, good. What do you think about Excel interesting Lambda functions? That's interesting. Yeah, I think Excel can accept Python now, right? Or is that Google Sheets? I'm not sure. Any advice staying focused in general? I'm finding it hard to stick with projects that I started at the moment. Yeah, there's a bunch of different things that you can do. First of all, you don't want to burn yourself out. What I do is, the way the brain works is that it creates associations between things. So if you want to stay focused on something, you want to create positive associations with whatever it is that you are doing. Another thing you can do is just do a little bit every day, even if you don't feel like it. I teach people to do at least 20 minutes a day of coding if you're learning. People go, 20 minutes, that's it. Well, what happens is that oftentimes when you sit down and you start coding and you just say, I'm going to do 20 minutes, it becomes more approachable. You say, okay, I'll just be done with this in 20 minutes. And then after 20 minutes, you're bored, you just leave. But what happens, you do this on a regular basis, your brain gets used to it, and you start getting used to do your 20 minutes, and then eventually the 20 minutes becomes a half an hour, it becomes a 40 minutes, it becomes an hour. So there's a couple of quick tips for you. Okay, we'll wind this off pretty soon. I was paid $5K more than I accepted my offer. Mistake was on employer contracting agency side, so they take those money back because I already spend them. I'm not sure what you're saying here. North Carolina, very good. Good morning, good morning. I drove through North Carolina on the way down to Florida last year at around this time. I love listening to you, but I can't yet predict when your live YouTube sessions are to happen. Can you share with me the schedule? I have no schedule. I usually do them around 2 in the afternoon, New York time. But I just decided to get on now because COVID lockdown. I said, I'm also do a live, and it's fun. Or date someone who's better. Why am I even commenting? Hey, great, thanks. I am from India. Tell me, Python or PHP, which one to choose on long-term basis? Doesn't matter, because once you become a good programmer, you'll be able to jump from Python to PHP like this. All right, we'll end with this. Is 29 too old to try to become programmer or web developer? No, I work mainly as a tech support. I have learned JavaScript more or less at an intermediate level. I need to learn Ruby on Rails for my job. So I'll learn Ruby on Rails, put up a good looking website, do a couple of freebie projects for nonprofits or something, and away you go. So no, hello from Uzbekistan. Hello from Canada. Greetings. If you read my message, I would be very glad. Well, I just read your message. Thanks for watching. All right. I am a junior developer with less than 1 year experience. I want to join TopTal. Will I be able to do jobs if I manage to crack the screening interview, pass the interview? My guess. If you pass the interview, I assume you'll be able to do the job, right? Is PHP a good language to use without using framework? For small jobs, yeah, sure, why not? All right, let's see what we got here. Do you think Swift will be more popular with the new M1? No, I don't. I see where you're going with that. I don't believe so. Yeah. PWA looks so interesting. What's the power of PWA? PWA's power is that it's cross-platform, so you can write one code base for multiple devices. device types. And yeah, and you don't have to install the PWA, and it's very functional. So versus native. By the way, I finally completed saving FU money last month to be protected from disasters. Congratulations, fantastic, good move. When you have FU money, it's like a weight off your shoulders. Like that's the first step to being free from the system. Congratulations for sure. What's the best way to hack a Dominion voting system? I don't know. I know USB and a screwdriver. What do you think of CSS Grid versus Bootstrap? I would default to Grid now because I think most of the browsers in use support Grid, and I always say native versus outside library that's the order of things. But Bootstrap is still widely used, so it's a Need2Nerd tech now, Bootstrap. It is too late for people who are in the 50s shifting to a career in software development. No, you're gonna have more limitations in terms of where you can work, but why not? You'll be able to combine perhaps your experience in other industry, combine that with coding. You know. What else? All right. Okay, I think we're good. Let's see what we got here. Lighting is on point there. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. I worked on that quite a bit, so I don't look like the Hulk. I got a super chat. Hey, thanks. I appreciate that. There you go. I just turned that on. All right. I'm halfway to a coffee. I appreciate that, Jonathan. Thank you. How do I upgrade my Lizard Wizard operating system? That's coming. That's coming. I've been doing lots of shooting for that course, and that's the goal, to help you to, I don't know, not so much upgrading the Lizard Wizard operating system, because you got two operating systems in your brain. It's more understanding how to use the operating system that counts. Imagine if I gave you a supercomputer, but you didn't know the operating system, you didn't know how to use it, or you knew just a little bit about it. You wouldn't be able to really use the true power of your new supercomputer. Well, that's the problem with most people. They have this super powerful computer between their ears, but they don't understand its operating system. So I'm going to teach that. That's coming. All right. What else we got here? Okay. All right. Lewis, I'm 30, started coding a year ago and already in my first job. Go for it. It's amazing. Hey, congratulations, Sebastian. And thanks for answering that questions. Which is better, Vim or TextEdit? That's a question you ask 10 different developers, that question, you're going to get 12 different answers. What happens after COVID? Will companies move devs back to offices? That's a good question. I don't know. I think it will depend on the company. From Tennessee. All right. Oof. Okay, it's 1 a.m., guys. I got to go. Take a look at this before you buy countertops. Remove from buy. Take a look at this before you buy countertops. I don't know what that... what's with these programmers taking psychedelics? Yeah, they want to open up their mind. You can get a similar quiet voice that represents to hear you, reposits to hear you. I'm not sure what that is. You can get a lot of the effects of psychedelics through meditations, by the way, and other things. Please do a live about Lizard Wizard 2. I will. Once I get out the core of the content and I have it organized, then I'm going to start doing Lizard Wizard specific lives, which are going to be a lot of fun, I think, for people. Can you please touch more on your Lizard Wizard courses? Love from Hutch Houston. Yeah, it's basically a course where you're going to learn about the operating systems of your brain, not just your brain, everybody's brain. And once you understand that, I'll be giving you strategies on how to leverage that operating system, which will be transformative in terms of your life. And it'll actually change your perception of reality to a certain extent. It's really, 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 really profound stuff. What is it? What is this Mike Tyson thing? Where is it? Will you get back in the ring with Mike Tyson? Will you get back in the ring like Mike Tyson? I was never a professional fighter. I did a lot of sparring. With some really good fighters too. No, because I got my nose broken a few times and I had major surgery to reconstruct it. And the surgeon told me don't go back in the ring. So I don't even train at boxing gyms anymore because I don't want to be tempted to get in the ring, because that was the most fun. I would spar 25 rounds a week. It's just so much fun, you know? All right. I think we'll end it here at 1 a.m., 182. Wow, it's not bad. If you like this stream, please give me a thumbs up. It's good for the Google algorithms. And I'm surprised we got this many people this late at night, in all honesty. That's cool. That's cool. So yeah, like I said, if you like the stream, please give me a thumbs up. And thanks for coming on. It's always a lot of fun. I like doing this. So what we'll do, of course, I'll end with my live stream ASMR video. And yeah, I'll put the coupon below. Well, the coupon is Ruby Rules for 50% off the Python package. And I'll put it in the description below. If you go to previous videos, I have it there as well. That's still active. All right, we'll talk soon. This is Cape Elizabeth, Maine, Ocean View. I went there, and this is the ASMR ending track.